Hey guys, got some great news. The Steelers are continuing to address their defensive line. We got some more defensive line help here. That means we don't have to draft anyone on the interior defensive line, right? We could use that first round pick for something else, maybe a running back, maybe a skill position. No, no. But we did sign another interior defensive lineman on top of Daniel Aquale, who we picked up just a few days ago, former New England Patriot. We got Esezi Otomewo becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler on a 1-year deal. So his bio, he was drafted in the 5th round of the 2022 NFL Draft by the Minnesota Vikings. He's only appeared in 9 games throughout the course of his NFL career, starting 2 last year in Jacksonville. Started 2 games out of those 9. His stats in those 9 games are 9 tackles, 2 QB hits, and half a sack. Of those 9 games, 5 of them were with the Vikings in his rookie year. Spent the 2023 season on the Jaguars practice squad. So again, 2022, drafted by the Vikings, spent his rookie year there. 2023 was a gap year, just spent it on the Jaguars practice squad. 2024 appeared in 4 games with the Jaguars, and the 13 other games last year, he was all inactive. PFF grades, 46.6 overall. Significantly better in the pass rush department, though, 71.5 in his pass rush grade, 29.8 in run defense. So, again, safe to say we still got to draft someone. We still need more help on this interior defensive line. It says he's not competing for playing time. He's not competing for a significant role. Clearly, he's competing for a roster spot. He's going to be competing with like Logan Lee and Isaiah Loudermilk for our like 6th or 7th guy on the depth chart, really. And to top it off, I mean, you saw the run grade, the 29.8 run defense grade. His style isn't really that run stopper, nose tackle, defensive tackle type of mold that we're kind of looking for, right? He's more of a 3 tech. He's going to play defensive end whenever you're in your base 3-4. So like lining up over in between like the left tackle over on that side, left tackle and left guard, right tackle, that type of thing. And again, we saw the run stopping grades. Like that's what we need help in the most is stopping the run. Clearly after that wild card game against the Ravens, right? So this really doesn't change anything in our continued now pursuit of upgrading this defensive line. Aquale from the Patriots, yeah, I could see him getting snaps. I could see him playing maybe 20% of the time, 30% of the time. I think his path is like what Tyson Alualu was for us back in 2017, 2016. That nose tackle, that defensive tackle for us whenever we're lining up in a base, good run stopper. But outside of that, he's not playing a hugely prominent role where he's out there snap in, snap out, all 3 downs or anything like that. But Esezi, I think he's just competing to make the team. He's competing just to be like one of the last guys on our depth chart for the defensive line. So we still got to draft someone. Like we missed out on all these free agents that would have been viable improvements. I'm talking Javon Hargrave, Milton Williams, Javon Kinlaw, Bobby Brown, Poona Ford. I guess even maybe Grady Jarrett. Falcons released him, and then he signed with the Bears the same day. But you know what? Maybe we don't have to draft someone. I still think this suggestion I'm going to bring up, we still could afford to draft someone. But there is still a name or two out there. And this name in particular, I was like, man, you know what? Why not bring in this guy? I know we missed out on Hargrave. We missed out on Kinlaw, some of these other names. And we're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here to try to make these defensive line improvements. Why aren't we considering Calais Campbell, though? If we're willing to sign Esezi Otomewo, why not Calais Campbell? He's still a free agent. I looked at the guys that are out there. There's a bunch of no names. There's a bunch of guys we have no clue who they are. We'd still be probably looking to the draft if we brought in some of these guys. But Calais Campbell, I don't know, man. By all accounts, he's still playing at a very high level. Talk about PFF grades. We went to Esezi's grade. He's a 46.6. Calais Campbell, I get he's 38. I get he's on the back end of his career, but he had an 82.3 overall grade last year. That was ranked 7th amongst all interior defensive linemen. And we're talking about how much we need help in the run defense, right? He was an 85.9 in his run defense grade, which is first amongst interior defensive linemen. First. 5 sacks last year, 12 QB hits, 5 pass deflections, and 52 total tackles. That's excellent, actually. Forget about the age. Forget about any of that. That's a damn good season for a defensive lineman. So how would Calais Campbell not be helping us more than Esezi? I mean, you can't tell me that. You literally can't tell me that. Calais Campbell, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, and he's still playing at a high level, clearly, at age 38. Was he 38 last year? He'll be 39 this year, or was it 37? He'll be 38. Either way, he's almost 40. But still playing at a high level. How would he not be a better signing than not only Esezi, but even Daniel Aquale? And we're trying to improve this team. We're so-called trying to turn over every stone, make changes. I wouldn't adding Calais Campbell to Cam Hayward and Keanu Benton on the interior not help us out stopping the run. I don't get it. And Calais Campbell wouldn't be expensive either. He signed a 1-year deal for $2 million with the Dolphins last offseason. That's a move I would make to help this defensive line. I think we should bring Calais Campbell back to the AFC North. I saw that the Dolphins offered him. They got an offer for him on the table, so there's that. But I'm sure he's still weighing his options. He's still looking at other teams. He might be waiting for a better offer from a better team that's more in contention than the Dolphins, because we know the Dolphins ain't winning anything, right? They got Tua as their quarterback. Dolphins ain't. He was on the Dolphins last year. He witnessed it firsthand. He knows the Dolphins ain't going anywhere. So maybe he's waiting for another offer out there. Steelers, I think we could be a better move than the Dolphins. Come back to the AFC North. You know what that type of football is like. Why not? Why not on both sides? Why not the Steelers and why not Calais Campbell? Bro. Be a cheap deal and he's still playing pretty damn good. We need help on the defensive line. You could still draft someone, but by bringing in Calais Campbell, that makes drafting a defensive tackle or an interior defensive lineman in the first round less pressing. You maybe wait till the 3rd or 4th, and those guys won't have to play significant snaps for you, and you could have them develop behind a Calais Campbell and a Cam Hayward. Learn behind them, and maybe they're ready to go next year or 2 years after that. I don't know. It sounds like a common sense move to me. Like the money we just spent on bringing in Esezi and bringing in Aquale, we could have just maybe offered that to Calais Campbell, right? Now, I still like the Aquale move. I guess there's nothing wrong with this Esezi move, but it doesn't move the needle. It doesn't do anything for us. We're still in the same boat. He's competing with Loudermilk. He's competing for like the 7th spot on the defensive line depth chart. We need guys that are going to be playing snaps and are going to help us stop the run and plug in gaps. That's what we need. And it's safe to say that's not really his reputation. Calais Campbell. I'm calling for Calais Campbell. Not that difficult of a move to make, I don't think. What is this I'm hearing about George Pickens, though? People are acting like Pickens might be getting traded to the Raiders. Where did this come from? And I looked into it because I'm scratching my head. What? Pickens to the Raiders? Pickens wants traded to the Raiders, or he's hinting at a potential Raiders trade? Like, where's this coming from? So apparently on his Instagram, he posted this picture of him and Tom Brady to his story. And people are taking this picture and are saying that Pickens is going to the Raiders. He's getting traded to he's either getting traded to the Raiders or he wants to get traded to the Raiders. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Like, that's what you took away from that post by George Pickens. We can't be stooping this low. What if Pickens just cherished that memory talking with Tom Brady and wanted to post about it? What if George Pickens views Tom Brady as a mentor? What if Pickens looks up to Brady because Brady's one of the all-time greats and Pickens aspires to be a great football player like him as well? What if that's why Pickens posted that picture? Like, those are all options too. Why are people just jumping to Pickens getting traded to the Raiders? Come on, man. How? Come on. Like, there's no talks about Pickens getting traded. There's no real reports. There's nothing from Pickens in his camp about not being happy with the Steelers. There's none of that. All we have is an Instagram post of Pickens and Tom Brady. Come on, dude. You really think if the Steelers are talking to teams about trading Pickens, they're letting Pickens in on it? I have a hard time believing that. Like, they're giving Pickens his preference on, hey, what team do you want to go to? Oh, it's the Raiders. Hey, all right, yeah, we'll make it happen. Why don't you post a little hint or a little teaser out there of you and Tom Brady? We'll get this trade happening before the draft. We'll get it happening around draft time. Come on, bro. I have a really hard time believing that. We traded Deontay to the Panthers out of nowhere. Claypool to the Bears out of nowhere. AB, we tried trading up to Buffalo, and he eventually said, no, I'm not going to Buffalo. Trade me somewhere else. But I will say this, the difference in this Pickens situation than some of those other ones, and why I could see the Steelers and Pickens like being on the same page, being involved together on this, is that whatever team would trade for Pickens would need to get assurance that he would want to play there and sign an extension long term, kind of like the DK Metcalf trade here to Pittsburgh. But again, there's no real rumblings. There's no real reports. There's nothing about Pickens getting traded. The team wanting to trade Pickens. And in fact, we've heard the opposite from Omar Khan, or Pickens being unhappy here, wanting out. But all of a sudden, Pickens posts a picture of him and Brady. He's going to the Raiders. He wants to be in Vegas. Come on, bro. Come on. This is sad. This is where we're at. This is where we're at in terms of football media and the covering of the sport in 2025. Come on, bro. Come on. Yeah, I can't take that seriously. I can't take Pickens to the Raiders being serious. But there have been, I will say this, there have been, we'll say, not rumors of Pickens getting traded. How do I want to say that? There have been legit talks amongst, we'll say, like, media or people that cover the Steelers as to why Pickens may get traded this offseason. But we're not even close to being there yet. We haven't heard that Pickens wants to be traded. We haven't heard that the extension talks haven't been going well between Pickens and the Steelers. We haven't heard any of that. I want to see what the Pickens and DK Metcalf tandem looks like first. For me, I don't even want to entertain any of this trade stuff right now. Let's see what Pickens, let's see what DK look like, because that could be dangerous. Especially if we're talking about trading for Rodgers, too. Now, if Pickens says he wants out, or if you're the Steelers and you don't think Pickens is a long-term fit based off what you've seen from Pickens these first 3 years and that dynamic, or you think he's just going to be too much of an issue behind the scenes, then by all means, it's time for a trade. But we haven't gotten that information yet. Like, when we traded Claypool, we found out the reason why the Steelers traded Claypool is just they thought he was a nuisance in the locker room. He was never going to be a leader here. He was never going to be um, ultimately what it takes to be a Steeler. It's like, okay, I understand that. Completely understand that. At the time, whenever the trade first happened, I didn't, because it's like, man, you're taking a weapon away from Kenny. He's just trying to get acclimated in his rookie year. But yeah, I think if you're the Steelers and you think it's not going to be a long-term fit, it's not going to work out here, then yeah, by all means, go for a trade, because this is the last year on Pickens' contract. But we don't have that information yet. What I've gathered is the Steelers think there's still hope with Pickens here. And again, Pickens hasn't said anything about not wanting to be here either. If anything, it's kind of pointed to the opposite direction there too. It's like he wants to be a Steeler long term. Again, what about a world where it's Pickens and DK instead of moving off of Pickens early, so we get a draft pick in return and we can replace Pickens? What about a world where Pickens and DK are together for not only next year, but the next 4 or 5 years? What if they're the future of the wide receiver room? You see it with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. You see it with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. You see it with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. Let's just see if DK and Pickens can work, because that could be special, man. And if we get Rodgers, Pickens has already said that his dream quarterback is Rodgers. So we don't have to do anything rash here. We don't. Let's see how the rest of the offseason goes. And if we get new information regarding the Steelers Pickens situation, then we could be talking trade. Right now, no. Let's see what Pickens and DK are doing. Because Con said he talked to Pickens, and Con also said that he wants Pickens to be a part of the solution here long term. That he should be one of the Steelers' staple receivers. It is what it is. Like, that's how it should be. That's what Con said at the scouting combine. Now, Con also did say that he has full faith in Kenny Pickett, but so maybe take that with a grain of salt. But all we're hearing from the Steelers side of things is we still want Pickens here. Ocho also said that he talked to Pickens and that Pickens knows what needs to be done now going forward, that some of the antics, some of the stuff from his first 3 years can't be commonplace for year 4, year 5, year 6, if he wants to have a long NFL career and be a part of the Steelers in particular. Now, granted, we still have to see it, but if you think there's a future, you think there's hope with GP in the black and gold, then it's just don't trade him. Don't trade him. We still got to we still got to see if Pickens is going to be turning over a new leaf and getting things right. I get that, and that's why the Steelers, I would understand if they don't want to give Pickens an extension. They don't want to go all in just yet. They want to see more. Less talk, more action. But as of right now, if you think there is hope, you think there is a future, if both sides feel that way, no reason to trade him right now. It's just ridiculous. If we do, I mean, we better at least be getting a second-round pick for Pickens, though. And you have to trade a receiver or draft a receiver in the first round. I would want Matthew Golden. Take Matthew Golden in the first round. You'd have to make sure you're getting Matthew Golden in the first round. And I don't think that's a guarantee as we sit at 21. I don't know if Matthew Golden will even be there. So I'd rather just have GP. Even when I bring up the scenario of trade GP, get a second-round pick, and draft a receiver in this upcoming draft, I'd just rather have GP. I think it's way more simpler there. Just rather have GP and have him and DK be the future at the wide receiver position and be the two staples on the outside, and then we could work on the inside in the slot with CA3 and Roman Wilson. I like that. I think that works. I think it gets too complicated if you want to trade Pickens because, I mean, Matthew Golden will be sick. 4.29 40, great route runner coming out of Texas. But I don't know. I don't think there's a guarantee that you're getting him. It goes back to, remember when we were talking about trading Deontay? It's kind of a similar situation. Potentially trading Deontay a couple seasons ago, and that was the Jordan Addison draft. I said, yeah, let's trade Deontay. It makes sense. but you need to make sure you're getting Jordan Addison. He's the only receiver I want that I think will be a good enough replacement right away for Deontay Johnson. And yeah, we ultimately didn't trade Deontay. We gave him the extension and everything, but you didn't know if you were going to get Jordan Addison. And I think at the time too, we still had Pickett, so there was that Pickett Jordan Addison connection from Pitt going on there. But there was no guarantee. So if you traded Deontay, you got a second round pick or whatever. We were sitting in the first round at 20 something. There was no guarantee that Jordan Addison was going to be there. So that's the risk you run. That's the problem you run with this type of stuff. But Jordan Addison was there, actually, looking back. So yeah, we could have done that Deontay trade. Hindsight being 2020, I would have traded Deontay and then just drafted Jordan Addison with that first pick. Because who'd we take? What was that Jordan Addison draft? Was that Broderick Jones? Wow. Okay. We traded up to get Broderick Jones. That's what it was. We traded up to get Broderick Jones. And we were picking at, you know what? We were picking even earlier than 20s. So Jordan Addison. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Hindsight 2020. We do that trade. Just draft Jordan Addison then. But yeah, I'm not looking to be trading GP right now. Not at all. And this whole Raider stuff, this is just, I mean, that's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. But that's it for today's show. Yeah, we signed a new defensive lineman and we got GP trade speculation running rampant because of his Instagram post with Tom Brady. But I'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Hopefully we got a decision on Aaron Rodgers. Is that likely? Maybe, especially now that the Vikings are out on him. It could be any time now because this decision comes down to two teams, Steelers, Giants, and I guess maybe there's a third option, retirement. Schefter said he's not in a rush. There's like no hard timetable for this, but at some point, this decision needs to be made. So hopefully it's soon because nothing's going to change. The information is not going to change, really. Vikings said they're out. They're going with McCarthy. You got the Steelers Giants offer on the table. Is some random team going to come out of nowhere? I don't think so. The only way information changes is if a quarterback gets hurt, but you're not going to find out if a quarterback gets hurt until training camp, preseason, regular season. That's the only way another quarterback opening would happen. That's 4, 5, 6 months away. Would Rodgers be willing to take that route? I don't know. I mean, yeah, who knows? I would assume not. And then if you just look at the Steelers situation, I don't know what options opening up. Like there's only probably a handful of options that are better if a guy gets hurt than what the Steelers got going right now. Why not just sign with the Steelers and throw the football to DK Metcalf, Pickens, have Jalen Warren, Pat Freiermuth, and have Mike Tomlin as your head coach? Why not do that and have a good defense on paper? Why not just do that? You know our floor is 10-7. You know we ain't going 5-12. So there's that. Like if you sign here, you know you're not going to put an embarrassing season out there. If this is it, you're not going to go out on a sour note that you did with the Jets. Not to that degree, at least. So, all right. Again, that's it. Back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Here we go, Steelers. Peace.